With Avatar: The Last Airbender in full swing, I thought I would share my Fire Lord Zuko commander deck that I've been working on. This is a bit of a different direction than I think some people have taken him. It's more focused on a beatdown strategy, so a lot of the creatures are just cheap, evasive creatures that at their own are kind of innocuous, but once Zuko starts to play cards from exile, they get a lot bigger and they become a lot more threatening. So let's get into it. So the deck runs 17 cards that I call counter wearers. These are just, like I said, evasive creatures that have keywords like double strike, trample, flying, menace, things like that are just very scary on the board once they get big. Some of my favorites are Emperor of Bones, which can be a recursive engine to bring back creatures of our own, or it can just exile cards from a graveyard as a form of graveyard hate. My personal favorite is Swiftblade Vindicator. As a 1/1 with double strike, trample, vigilance, and trample, it's insane as an attacker, it's insane as a blocker. If you can get this on turn 2, Zuko turn 3, and just have an exile effect turn 4, like, oh my gosh, I'm living so good. To get these exile effects, we actually have some evasive creatures that do care about exiling the top card of our library. Prophetic Flame Speaker and Moria Marauder are effectively the same card, but the same kind of effect where you're getting in theory, two exile triggers for their combat damage, which is super, super cool. To make sure that we are still triggering Zuko's second ability consistently, since that is the main win con of the deck, we run about 20 exile effects in the deck. Some of the really good ones are Gloria the Great Armorer. I really don't want to use the Arianya one, but I may. You get exile trigger anytime a modified creature deals combat damage to a player, which is just like super good. Commune with Lava is a fantastic one with Zuko's firebending ability. Dragonhawk Fate's Tempest is just an incredible end of curve card. This deck runs a pretty low curve, so this is near the top end of it at 5. But just if you can get this down and your board is already big enough, like, oh my gosh, he will generate enough value for you to just win the game. Dream Devourer is also one of my favorites. I love Foretell, and being able to get cards out earlier and then just kind of go on one turn and just cast a ton of stuff from exile, get a huge board, and hopefully swing out and do a lot of damage is fantastic. Joshua Phoenix's Dominant is a card that I feel like people are kind of sleeping on. I feel like this was a card I saw in Final Fantasy and I thought it was really cool and interesting, and I feel like it's kind of gone on the wayside. But I think this card is great in this deck because it has almost everything. But the mana sink is really great. You really only need 1 white mana to flip him, and whenever he flips, all of his counters still stay on him. So he goes from a 3/4 nothing to a 4/4 flying lifelink, along with burning people, and he comes back to the battlefield flipped again. So he's triggering Zuko constantly, putting counters on himself, getting recursive creatures from your graveyard if they happen to die. I just think he's fantastic in this deck. Wild Wasteland is one that I've been meaning to play, and I think it's just a super fun, interesting effect. It's like Outpost Siege, except cheaper and better in my opinion. Just skip out on your draw step, exile top 2. That's really all you care about in this deck, is casting from exile. Who cares if they see your cards? You're still going to just play them out and try and win the game. And lastly, we want to have a big payoff for Zuko's firebending effects. So of course we run Vidalcan